my head starts to spin. I stand on the naked bridge. I pray for the last time. You can have my body, but you can't have my mind.
Hey, greetings from the Book of Soren. It's April 27th here in Sioux City. In Sioux City, to do some hiking. As we mentioned before in some of our other videos, you can always find a good place to do some hiking. Anyway, here to talk about a new album that Scott and I just released over the last weekend called Tau Sardone. You get that? Tau Sardone, which now this is a bit of a stranger album for us, so I'd like to at least give you a little background on what some of the motivations and some of the genesis of this thing is. You know, Scott writes a certain style of music which he calls dead space, which is very, he could probably describe it better than me, but kind of static and atmospheric. And I tend to, you know, be more song-based. And a lot of our earlier albums, I think, have kind of defaulted more towards the song-based stuff. So we really wanted to try to see if we could get a more honest synergy between our two styles. And, you know, from my own personal perspective, I think we did pretty good on this. I still feel happy with you know, my contribution to this effort, and I can still see it, I can hear it, I can see it, and the same thing on yours. So to me, it's a pretty good melding. The way we actually got there was we started writing a bunch of instrumental music, and at some point we had like 7 instrumental pieces, which were all longer based, you know, 15, 20-minute long pieces. And we were going to release a fully instrumental album, and we were still looking for some kind of metaphor to tie it all together. And at one point we were looking at the Pleiades, right?
Yep.
And but never found anything that felt satisfying enough. And as we kept thinking about it and rumbling it over, we came across an idea that Scott had years ago. He had written. Talk about that.
The Thorkel stories on our YouTube channel, which are just a creative outlet in Castletown. There's a bartender there that loves to hear stories, and he'll give a free dram to somebody that comes in and tells him a story. So I had written another one of these, and the music never got written. I mean, I hope someday it will be finished, but I wrote a story based on the idea that there is a bridge, Tau Sardone, and a man is trapped on this bridge. He gets like summoned, and the whole idea of this summoning of this is the city of Tau Sardone exists as a city of prayer, and the purpose of prayer is to keep the sleeping god Hastur, which is another reference to people like Bierce and Lovecraft and some of these strange fiction that Dan and I love so much. But so I thought, how about if we incorporate the whole idea that the protagonist is brought to Tau Sardone to become a prayer, you know, to keep the sleeping god from waking, because if Hastur wakes up, the universe ends. So we're all awake inside the dream of the sleeping god. So that one thing led to another, and we had an entire concept album based on this imagination being dangerous. And you know, that's the point I wanted to make, is that imagination is great. I mean, think of Harry Potter, think of J.R.R. Tolkien. the worlds that they create that are so rich, and people love to be inside of the world that's created inside their mind, and none of it's real, it's just an imagination. Well, is it possible that imagination can be dangerous, that you could become lost? And we see that in our world today, where people take it too far and they're trapped inside the imagination of somebody else. So that's the gist of what this story is. And
you're showing a yin and a yang.
Yeah.
Inspiration is something to get you jacked, something to get excited about, but at the same time, anything you love, it can be your downfall as well.
Yep. So we wrote music, and we augmented there's so much electronic dead space. There's a lot of my electronic stuff, so people that like my
you might not hear his
electronic
guitar
side,
at all, right? You're
yeah.
playing space guitar through the whole thing.
They sound like keyboards, they sound like synths. They're not. It's me on guitar. And Dan is doing all the acoustic guitars. I mean, there's just a lot to it, and it's very dense.
But every other track is instrumental. The instrumentals tend to be a bit longer. They're kind of putting, allowing the imagination to fill in the storyline of your story.
Yeah. Yep.
And then every other track has got some lyrics, and your lyrics are pretty.
They're pretty dark.
Pretty metaphorical.
They're dark, but they're poignant. I mean, as far as what we're talking about, as far as the imagination being an actual thing, and do I live inside my imagination? Probably. Everybody does to a certain extent, and that's not bad. But you can go too far, maybe.
So again, it's probably difficult to envision what this album sounds like based upon what we said, right?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I still think it's, there's enough song-based stuff in here to make it seem cohesive. Again, the lyrical stuff is a little bit shorter, probably an average of 3-4 pieces, but there are some longer form pieces in there that are 7 or 8, 9 minutes long.
And it's dense with electronic whooshes and all kinds of, here's the album cover again. And we actually recorded twice the amount of music that we used. We've got so much that Dan and I had done for this. It was like a wellspring. It was like the last Footballs album. We have music that we didn't use on that either.
One thing we should have done, we should have put Udo in the story.
Dan and I have already mined that imagination of Udo being
an
a
eternal
conscious
creature.
Yeah.
So what's my point? My point is, don't forget the Temple Diaries.
That's right. And we hope you listen to this and enjoy it. There's some heavy rock in this. It's not all space music. You're not gonna.
And you do all the singing on this one too. So that's probably something the average listener to this channel hasn't heard to it as much.
Yeah. Dan allowed me to write the concept, to do all the singing, and it was fun for me because I don't consider myself a good singer, but his mastery of mixing and mastering, he did a good job. I like the album quite a bit.
Yeah, as do I. Okay, I think that's all I had. Anything you want to say? Happy listening.
Happy listening, and what a chunk.
All right, thanks everybody.
Bye.
The prayer city is alive. The fabled prayer city has called me forth. The endless and ceaseless prayers to the Shepherd King have called me. To waken to the dream of the sleeping God is lost in gloom. But should the sleeping God awaken, shall be our doom. The 7 bridges take me